Good morning. Good morning. This is Kula from OptionScalps. Wanted to talk to you today about the market. Wow. Okay, so a lot to get over, a lot to cover. Don't have a ton of time today, but do have enough time to talk about what we are expecting. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you can get it every day when we come on live, or we try to do it every day, but sometimes life gets in the way, but turn that on and we'll catch you, or you'll be able to catch all of our content. Okay, first thing first. CPI coming in hot, a little hotter than expected, right? We thought the year over year on September is 2.8. Their forecast was 2.7, and so we're seeing a year over year increase, but it's kind of weird because the month over month is dropping. So the numbers aren't numbering, right? And it is. I went back and looked at it. I'm not quite sure. And so maybe if you do have some insight there on why that's not adding up, and to be honest with you, I didn't really dive into it too much, but I just want to make sure they weren't just doing September versus September last year. Normally when you do year over year, it is a rolling average. So we'll see. Now, PPI, of course, coming in below expectations. So good, but really what the Fed's used is core CPI. Right, and so we have today, we have some 1 year inflation expectations out of Michigan. These things are whatever. And I think the big thing is today is we have a lot of Feds talking, so got to be keeping an eye on that. Keep them on the television if you can, or find them on YouTube streaming, and keep an eye on what they're saying today, because it seems like a lot of Feds talking today. But other than that, PPI has already been released, and from what we see, we're seeing the dollar get a bit of a rise from it, right? So switching from this, it dropped, and now we're continuing to rise. So we'll see kind of how that looks. If that wants to continue to climb, say up into this 104 area, that would really bring the market down to its knees. So realistically, this 103.58 range right here is kind of probably what we would expect. Let's cover Tesla real quick, okay? So yesterday we talked about this. We said that we're in a bit of a coil here, and we're in a range. We're in that range from 240 to 250, including in options, right? That was kind of what we were looking for. Today we dipped down, and I said we'd get into this 230 to 228 or 225 range, and we're sitting there right at 222. So it wouldn't surprise me, because Tesla is notorious for gap closing, right? Would not surprise me for this thing to come back down. We have unfinished gaps all the way back down at virtually 205, 206. It wouldn't surprise me to see this thing come and do some liquidity hunting down here towards this 211 area. Wouldn't surprise me at this point. Now, do I think we're going to get that today? No, I do not think we're going to get that today. In fact, I would be surprised if we don't make a rally back towards 240. That's going to be where the option floor is, right? Let me pull this up. Friends over at Gamma Edge giving us the data. You can see it's put dominated. As of right now, so yesterday, guys, this changed dramatically. So this is even news to me. So, okay, so 220 is the negative GEX demand. So these rolled in hot yesterday. I must have missed this. 220 on Tesla. So expect that to be the floor, 220. So if you're looking to sell options, make sure that, that whatever your break even is around that 220, and you're probably going to be all right. No more than 245 today. On your break even, you should be all right for the covered calls. I know a couple people in my Discord are saying, what should we do? Well, that's what you need to do. Wow. Let's look into next week. Let's peek in 210. So we're seeing that that's growing 210. So that's kind of what we were talking about, that gap fill. So let's see if we've lost our daily 20 and we're moving in towards that range. 200 is down there near 202. So if I don't think we'll get that far, but if we wait in the next week, we might see this thing start to rise. If we look back, let's go back. 200 days, 200 days. So we'll actually have the 200 will actually drop before rising. So watch for a dip on the 200. It might come re-meet this trend line. Interesting. So we'll keep an eye at that. I think the big thing is that analyst, everybody really thought that Tesla would do this robo-taxi thing and they would have almost like a monopoly on the taxis. But yesterday, Elon was talking about selling them, and not just selling them for only $30,000. And he said, you can control your fleet. So they're, what I felt like they did yesterday was solidify them as a car company, even doing all the automation, the autonomous driving. They wanted to sell these cars, not open up and run a taxi service division. They wanted to sell these cars. So I think that's a real big concern for some analysts and some investors. But albeit the cars and stuff was cool, but they went into saying, hey, we're selling these cars, and not so much that we are going to run this division. I was kind of surprised by that myself. Okay, so that's that. Let's take a look at SPY real quick. Okay, so we were above this range. We were above this range, this liquidity prior to PPI coming out. We're like saying, seeing the dollar rise, that's going to turn the market more bearish than it would anything. Okay, as the dollar rises, equities generally reduce, right? Strength of the dollar equals cheaper pricing. So we'll see. Yesterday we hit both our targets. Both these targets got hit in the beginning of the morning, and then it found a bounce. We said that options indicated that 575 was the floor yesterday, and that's what it was. So if you bought, if you own it, you manage it, you fix it. And he even said that. Contributing in the chat over here, talked about, that you could manage your own fleet. And he even said it in there. And so I thought it was kind of like eyebrow raising for sure. Okay, so I think today you need to be cognizant as this does have that look. Okay. Let me pull up options data. Let me pull this off screen and I'll pull it up for SPY. Oop. I might have screwed that up. Okay, so looking at targets today, so again, I think you need to be watching this 575 range. We're going to see what options tell us here in a second. But I do think that watching this 575 range as a floor is probably going to be what we're looking at. This is taking a second because I screwed up and then I had to refresh it. So give me just 1 second. Let's take a look at it on the daily real quick. Okay, so we have a rising 4-day moving average. This is a good little trend detector, right? That's going to probably be right around that 574 today, 573, high 573s, right in that range. So keep an eye on that, as that's going to be just because it can dip below it. You can clearly see it can dip below it. Man, it just timed out. And we'll see if this thing, you know, we're going to have the daily 20 here, moving up towards 570. So if you're selling contracts, sell it with a break even of right around 570. And then if I was doing the plus side, I'd do 580 plus. Okay, so here we go. Here's our options. Let's look at today. So again, similar to what we saw yesterday, 574 GEX demand, a little bit lower actually, by $1 here. We're positive net GEX here. It's call dominated. It's not super crazy here. It's actually kind of flat. So for me, does look like a bit of a chop day on the index here. So this is, you know, 0.43 expected move, not anything crazy. I think that we need to be cognizant of a potential flood. This is something you need to be watching, and Gamma Edge does have a volume momentum tracker, and so they will update that. Go take a look at that. I have a link on my YouTube page. Get a free trial for Gamma Edge, and if not, it's in the Discord, and I need to double check that, but get your own, and then you can join into their Discord and see their volume momentum command, and you can see as people are adding and selling calls, and you can kind of see what direction this is going to be pressing. So keep an eye on this for this to change, but I don't think it would change for the upside. I think it would change for the downside. Okay, I think today, like I said, we do have that head and shoulders type of look here, like a triple top, right? I think that 577, 71 would be the high. If it does pop above that, it would just be a snub nose again and create a range. So for me, the range is actually down to 572. If they do add to it, it would go all the way down to 570. That would be our daily 20 visit. But as of right now, you're not really interested in going short on this until you see a breakdown of this level right here. You see a breakdown of this level and you see a continuation, it is likely coming for this area right here and then right here. So got to keep an eye on that. But as of right now, it almost looks range bound. And I might avoid playing this. Well, let's go take a look at NVIDIA real quick. NVIDIA, kind of in its little chop zone right here still. Wouldn't surprise me to see this thing maybe jet over and then come back down, or jet up and go towards our targets right here. This was the gap close, and this was the swipe, 136.15. So this will be your high side on NVIDIA today. I think if you break down, if you swipe 130, let's say hit 135, and you see a breakdown below 134.20 here, you need to be looking for that to target 133.54 and potentially all the way down to 132.65. Let's take a look at NVIDIA's real quick. I'll pull this off screen. We talked about how yesterday 127 is definitely on the table because of data. We're still strong on NVIDIA, awfully strong. I think that we definitely want to, you know, come and swipe these areas. So 136.12 or 136.15, I think is where we have it marked off. Watch for that to get swept, or at least get the gap closed there. And we'll see if that thing wants to roll back down. But as of right now, as long as we stay over 132, we're not really seeing anything kind of break down for any type of further movement on the gap close towards 127. Start taking a look at this. We have a, and actually this is increased, okay? So our floor is increased to 131. It's kind of exactly what we're looking at, right? So we're just talking about this, saying 132, kind of the floor, looking for that to kind of hold and maybe move up. We've got a pretty sizable positive net GEX here, which means tons of calls. 135 is our GEX supply. So that is virtually where they're going to look to try to hold that. Dealers will say 135, no higher. But if you do break above that, watch for that gamma squeeze into that 138, potentially, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you right now, I think the 136.15 area will probably be it, and then it'll get sold back below that and probably end towards that 135 or rope on it. It's not a great range for you in the sense that, you know, the only thing here to play calls, you'd have to, for me, you'd have to see it swipe 133.53 first, and then look to gain on that. But your floor is 131. The best type of play for you today is actually puts up here, and you look for it to fall down into the range. So talk about risk versus reward, right? You talk about this going no higher than this range. We have gamma wall up here. So you're looking for this thing to maybe push up here, go short on it, and look to target some of these lows with a floor of 131. Okay, we'll do a little bonus right here. I want to look at Apple real quick. We're into my trend here. There's another trend here as well. Let me see if it pops up on my daily. It doesn't. Okay, couple different trends here. If we do pop this range, I'd be kind of surprised. But if we do, this will be probably a continuation up towards this 233 range. We have to break through 229.75 and mount 230. You're going to see that 230 is going to be, let me pull this up. Bear with me for just a second. Take a look at it on the daily chart. You're going to see that it has a strong bullish candle here. We'll have rising moving averages. In fact, we're starting to see options come in on Apple quite a bit. Let's take a look at this real quick. You're seeing 230, a huge 230 wall, huge 230. So would not expect anything less than probably targeting 230, but nothing higher than that, okay? And we're virtually there. So you need to be super cognizant of the 230 run and sell. That's what we're seeing there. 230 run and sell. Don't think it's going to go any higher. Not today. And we start adding in next week. We actually start to see this thing continue to rise. The GEX, our floor drops just a little bit, but our ceiling is rising into that 235 range. So they clearly think into next week they're going to go and target this range right up here. This is clearly an area of supply, right? And you need to be watching and monitoring for that gap fill and potentially even that swipe towards 237. That's what we're seeing. So they're saying 231, 230 is starting to, or excuse me, 225 is the floor, and they're looking for this to rise. That's what options are telling us. So supporting the daily 20 is the most likely case, and then we'll see if this thing wants to push up. But I had all these things dropping into next week, so I'd be curious to see if that's going to be the case, as options kind of disagree with me at this point. But some data comes in, some things happen. Who knows, right? At this point, who knows? Ugh. But okay, so that's what we covered. Not favorable trading the indexes. Let me look at Netflix real quick. 230 got broke. 230 got broke on this. We talked about this being an area of the cut for the short here. It looks like it was, I mean, we had a great support here near this 700. You can start to see that our PE ratio is around that 44 and climbing. In the last time, the acceptable range prior to these last earnings got up to about that 47%. So if that's the case, we have still another 5% to go on this. So you start talking 5% on pricing here. We're in that 750 range if they want to match the multiplier, right? So we'll see if that's going to be the case as this grows. But I just had a feeling that we're going to go down before we're going up. But I could be wrong, guys. I could be wrong. I thought we were going down. But is this going to be a blown top? Potentially. So watch for this thing to dip below 720 again. If this dips below 720 again, I will hammer Netflix on a short. I'll be looking for this thing to go down into this 664 range. Didn't get it. It was a good trade, but it did break through our stop right here, and we're looking for that to fall down. So that's just the name of the game there. Got a risk versus reward. So take the losses, take the wins gracefully, and keep going. All right. Last thing real quick. Want to look at the dollar real quick. Okay. So starting to rise again. We'll see if this thing wants to drop below this area, this 102.86 area. If it drops below that, then we'll keep an eye on that for maybe continued downward pressure. But I think we're heading up, and that will bring the markets down. So keep an eye on it, y'all. Hopefully that answers all your questions. If you struggle with this, struggle with trading and don't really understand it, we do have a VIP program, which virtually has some education aspects to it, has our real-time call outs, gives you access to our custom indicator for our strategy of targeting liquidity, and much more, So as you can see, we run $14.99 a week, or $49.99 a month. This is at wop.com/OptionScalps. Take a look at that, or OptionScalps.com. Either one of those, take a look at it, see what we're about. And if you're not interested in joining the VIP program, then that's fine. Come join our free community. It gets access to our free part of our Discord. I still get access to our data bots, data flow bots, and just bounce some ideas off some other traders. So always good for the camaraderie. Anyways, appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.